Tensions between the United States and Venezuela have escalated dramatically in recent days, raising fears of a broader regional conflict in the Caribbean. On September 2, 2025, the U.S. military launched a deadly strike in the southern Caribbean, targeting a vessel believed to be operated by members of Venezuela's Tren de Aragua, a powerful criminal organization accused of narcoterrorism, human trafficking, and illegal arms smuggling. The U.S. claims the vessel was carrying a significant load of narcotics destined for American soil. In what U.S. officials described as a precision maritime operation, 11 individuals aboard the boat were killed. American defense sources say they had intelligence confirming links between the suspects and high-level criminal elements protected by Venezuela's ruling regime. President Donald Trump addressed the nation shortly after the operation, stating that the strike was a clear message to what he called narco-dictators who threaten the safety and security of the Western Hemisphere. Secretary of State Marco Rubio echoed the sentiment, emphasizing that the U.S. would no longer tolerate what he described as Venezuela's state-sponsored criminal enterprise. But the response from Caracas was swift and defiant. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro condemned the strike, calling it an act of war. In a fiery televised address, Maduro warned that any further aggression from the United States would be met with armed resistance. He claimed that Venezuela would not back down from what he called imperialist threats and accused Washington of attempting to carry out regime change through military intimidation. Maduro said, and I quote, "If Venezuela is attacked again, we will not hesitate to declare an armed struggle. We are a peaceful people, but we will defend our sovereignty at all costs." The Venezuelan military has since raised its alert level, and the government has begun mobilizing troops in coastal areas closest to U.S. naval activity. Meanwhile, satellite imagery and military tracking confirm a significant U.S. buildup in the region. Over the past several weeks, the United States has deployed multiple naval warships, a nuclear-powered submarine, and over 4,000 Marines to the southern Caribbean under the guise of an expanded counter-narcotics mission. But analysts and regional observers say this goes far beyond drug interdiction. Many believe the U.S. is testing the limits of Venezuela's military resolve while also signaling to other regional powers, including Cuba and Nicaragua, that America is prepared to use force if necessary. Others view this as a calculated move ahead of the U.S. election, with President Trump seeking to project strength and rally support among hardline voters, particularly in states like Florida, where anti-Maduro sentiment runs high. At the same time, the State Department has doubled down on diplomatic pressure, increasing the reward for information leading to Nicolas Maduro's arrest to $50 million. The U.S. continues to recognize opposition leader Maria Corina Machado as Venezuela's legitimate interim president, despite her exclusion from recent elections by Maduro's government. The international community has responded with concern. The United Nations, along with the European Union, has urged both countries to de-escalate tensions and return to the negotiating table. But so far, neither Washington nor Caracas appears ready to back down. Inside Venezuela, the political climate remains tense. The economy continues to suffer from years of hyperinflation, sanctions, and corruption. Despite attempts at political reform, Maduro's grip on power remains firm, bolstered by loyal military forces and regional allies like Russia and Iran, both of which have condemned the recent U.S. strike. In a joint statement, Russia and Iran warned the United States against what they called provocations that could destabilize the entire region. Russia also announced that it would send a delegation of defense advisors to Venezuela in a move likely meant to counterbalance U.S. influence. On the streets of Caracas and other major cities, some Venezuelans have rallied in support of Maduro, waving flags and chanting anti-American slogans. Others, however, see the recent developments as yet another dangerous chapter in a never-ending crisis that has driven millions to flee the country over the last decade. As both nations double down, one with military hardware, the other with nationalist rhetoric, the risk of direct conflict is growing. For now, the world watches closely. Will this remain a series of strategic warnings and symbolic shows of force? Or are we witnessing the early stages of a larger confrontation? Only time will tell, but one thing is clear: the stakes have never been higher in the long and troubled relationship between the United States and Venezuela. Subscribe to Global Info for more global update. Don't fail to drop your comments. See you in our next update.